Hey now, ladies and gentlemen. Hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now. Hour number 3 of the line, Talk 995, talk995.com. Thank you for being here. Love you long time. Love you. And yeah, we're just rocking and rolling, man. John Bird gonna be in studio next segment for John Bird Plays the Guitar. He's gonna do it right here in front of me, which is always awkward. There's something about people singing in front of me that makes me feel weird. I don't know what it is. But as long as he doesn't cry or anything while singing Desperado, we may be able to get through it. Still keeping an eye on this downed F-15E Strike Eagle. Um, the plane went down in the uh, Khuzestan region, Khuzestan province, should I say, which is an area of Iran that it borders with Iraq. So it's right there. And if you think about the Persian Gulf, which is the the part of the Gulf that's on the backside of the Hormuz Strait, the Strait of Hormuz, it's just north of that. It actually borders the Persian Gulf there, and from what we understand, one pilot, there were two pilots on this plane. It's an F-15E Strike Eagle fighter jet. One of the two pilots have been rescued. Don't know if they're male or female. Um, but another pilot is still missing and that they are searching for that second pilot. The first one's been rescued, receiving medical treatment. That's great news. But now looking for the second one. And here's why it's so important. Iran has put out a reward for finding that second pilot because they want to be able to take that pilot hostage and use it in this conflict or use it for negotiations. Now, where this plane went down is well south of Tehran, which is in northern Iran, as you know. But still, hostile forces all over that area. Again, you're talking about right there on the coast of the Persian Gulf, not necessarily near the Strait of Hormuz, where you would expect terror proxies to be, because that's what's keeping the Strait of Hormuz closed. But still, Iran is riddled with terrorists and individuals that are willing, especially during such a difficult time in Iran, willing to capture somebody in order to collect some sort of reward. It is getting dark in Iran right now. The sun is going down. I don't know if that will or will not. That may benefit that missing pilot in the sense of being trained on how to elude and evade any sort of capture. But definitely praying for that soldier, and hopefully they rescue that pilot, that second crew member, as quickly as possible. Because if that pilot is in fact captured, we've got a whole new situation on our hands. Now, this is the second time we've seen planes go down. The first one was in a friendly fire crash over Kuwait, as you know. This is much different than that. This is being crashing within the borders of Iran, and Iran claiming a responsibility for shooting this plane down. Evidence suggests at this point that that is true, that in some capacity, not saying it was hit with a rocket or whatever, but in some capacity, those on the ground were able to shoot this fighter jet out of the sky. So as that information continues to flow in, we will let you know, and hopefully that second crew member is found as quickly as possible. That's a story that's been going on for the past hour or so. So we'll keep our eyes on it. YouTube, I'm concentrating on YouTube right now because I want you guys to subscribe. Plus, I'm watching YouTube myself. Remember, go to, and this is for those of you that are just joining us, go to Real Talk 99.5 TV. Go to your YouTube channel. I mean, your YouTube account, whether it's on your computer or your tablet or your phone. hit that search button, type in Real Talk 99.5 TV. You see our channel, click our channel, look for that live video, jump in, say something in the chat. Just give me a hey now and hit me with the J's and let me know you're hanging out with us. And I know every time I say that, the numbers go up. So also make sure you subscribe. That's the most important part. Subscribe. There's a subscribe button right there by the name. Remember, Real Talk 99.5 TV. Jump in on it, Coles. Get with us. And there's Bama Phoenix with a hey now. Hey now again. Y'all give me the hey nows in the chat. I'm watching you. So what I was saying before we left that last hour was The Guardian published a shaky narrative that suggested that Tulsi Gabbard could be on the chopping block. The White House immediately comes out and says, no, that's not true. According to The Guardian, Trump had allegedly been considering whether to fire Tulsi Gabbard, citing anonymous sources who claimed the president was frustrated over her handling of former National Counterterrorism Center Director Joe Kent, who resigned after criticizing the administration's rationale for confronting Iran. And I mean, for me, it seemed that Donald Trump was happy that Joe Kent was gone. I don't know where there would be frustration outside of Trump didn't like that he stayed there as long as he did. I don't know. Because the Joe Kent thing kind of came out of left field. He seemed like an all right guy, and the next thing you know, he's acting like Iran's not a threat whatsoever, even though he's been tweeting for years that Iran was a major threat and had to be confronted. The White House spokesman Stephen Chung sent out a statement on X saying, POTUS has total confidence in Tulsi Gabbard, and any insinuation otherwise is totally fake news. The president has assembled the most talented and impactful cabinet ever, and they have collectively delivered historic victories on behalf of the American people. Sources close to the president told the Daily Mail that Trump believes Gabbard should remain in the job he personally chose for her. So, Guardian saying she's on the chopping block, but the Daily Mail says that, nah, it's not true. Trump likes her. According to administration officials, the attacks on Gabbard are being fueled by entrenched bureaucrats and intelligence community operatives threatened by her reform agenda. So that would make sense that there's people inside the intelligence community that don't like Tulsi Gabbard, don't like the fact that she's attempting to dismantle the deep state or release information, which, on Ukraine and others. Remember what I told you last week about Ukraine, the information, the communications that they found where Ukraine was looking to send money to fund Joe Biden's campaign. That's about to be, I don't know if it's going to be released, but they're investigating it to see if they actually did it or not. That's probably the latest thing that would fuel people within the intelligence community to secretly go to media outlets and say, hey, Donald Trump's looking to fire Tulsi Gabbard in order to slander Tulsi Gabbard and the president. Here's what the Daily Mail said. So President Trump believes that Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard should remain in the job he chose for her. According to sources, one solution proposed by an ally of Attorney General Pam Bondi, who was fired by the president on Thursday, was to shift Bondi to replace Gabbard. Right. But the president indicated that he wanted Gabbard to stay in the job, the report noted. White House pushed back against a report from The Guardian that said Trump had soured on Gabbard after her former deputy, Joe Kent, who made a dramatic exit and resigned in protest, blah, blah, blah. Others in the administration suggested that the reports about Gabbard were a result of bitter infighting within the Washington intelligence community, which is likely the case. So take it for what it's worth, which it's worth absolutely nothing. Tulsi Gabbard's not going anywhere. Go ahead and bank on it. There are people leaving, though. Pete Hegseth firing 2 more senior Army generals, which signals to me, because I think that means they've pretty much revamped the Joint Chiefs of Staff, means we're about to head in a different direction when it comes to this conflict in Iran. And hopefully that direction would be winding down. But that's why this F-15E Strike Eagle fighter jet going down and this intense search for the second crew member after that jet went down is so important. Because if the Iranians are able to take hostage this soldier, then we've got an entirely different situation on our hands. Hopefully that does not turn out to be the case. Looking at the Hey Nows on YouTube. Who do we got? Fifth the Ange Pro. I can't read some of y'all's screen names. We got Michael. We got Heart of Dixie. We got Thaddeus. We got Bill and Nixon. And what is that? Upstate Redneck. We got Jivin' Joe with everybody. Hey now. Y'all join us on YouTube. Remember, Real Talk 99.5 TV. Get in the chat. Make sure you give me a hey now when you get on there. I want to see you guys on the YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed. Remember, search Real Talk 99.5 TV. Plus, you want to be on there because you'll be able to watch John Bird play the guitar live at 1 o'clock. And Lord knows you don't want to miss that. 205-545-9950. A lot of show coming up. Okay, so if I look sweaty on YouTube, it's because it's hot as balls in here. And I don't know what's going on with the AC, but I feel like we go through this every spring and every summer. It's just hot as balls. Are they gonna let me start wearing sleeveless shirts to work? I mean, if this is the life we gotta live, can I let my inner redneck come out and start wearing sleeveless shirts? Because I may have to go that route. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Still pushing to YouTube. Don't forget, YouTube. I want y'all to subscribe. This is the biggest thing, but I want you to come in and I want you to give me a hey now in the chat. I'll shout you out. I'm going to give everybody shout outs today. It's Shout Out Friday. Real Talk 99.5 TV on YouTube. Hook it up. Hook it up. Subscribe. And give me a big old fat hey now. Hey now. Hey now. Hey now. 10-year anniversary Jawbone Jam coming up May 15th at Iron City. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Just search 99.5 or Jawbone Jam, whatever you want to do. As you know, we got Brother Kane, Stone Horses and Cattle. And listen for your chance to win tickets so you can come hang out with us and listen to some great music. We're going to have some tickets to give away. I didn't think that was going to be the case originally, but we are going to have tickets to give away as we get closer to the big celebration. Special thanks to Aqua Systems and Blakely's Bouquet for helping us celebrate. And big shout out to Danny Knowles of the Knowles Group. Danny's just such a good guy. And I know, he's known Leland for a long time. And I haven't known Danny as long, but I know Danny enough to know he and his crew over there are just good people and do a great job. So thank you guys for making it happen for us. And all the support over the years. And thank you to you guys, those of you that are going to be coming and hanging out with us. Make sure you get your tickets, even if you're from out of town, because I know we've got a lot of out-of-town listeners. I know for this show in particular, we've got many of y'all that listen to us from out of state. Hey, it's a Friday night, man. Why not make a little trip? You and the spouse, y'all come hang out with us and have a good time. I mean, there's stuff to do. You think about Birmingham. You're like, what does Birmingham really have going on? But there's stuff going on. I don't know. Maybe there's even a Stallions game that next day. Let me look at the Stallions schedule. Birmingham Stallions schedule 2026, and leading up to well, I don't see anything for May 15th. I see May 3rd is the lowest one. Let's say April 12th, April 18th, April 24th, May 3rd, and May 9th. That's week 7. Oh, week 8. Here we go. May 17th. So it's a Sunday at Protective Stadium. It's a noon game against the Columbus Aviators. So, and it's going to be on Fox. So it's on national TV. So maybe if you want to come out of town for Jawbone Jam, come hang out with us Friday and then stick around to Sunday and check out the Beeham Stallions, baby. Look, I just planned out your whole weekend for that. Look at that. Look at that. Got y'all hooked up. Oh, real quick, the info on Pete Hegseth firing 2 more Army generals yesterday after ousting Army Chief of Staff General Randy George. I think that may have been earlier this week. George served in the role under Biden's Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, which raises some questions in the first place. Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell said General Randy A. George will be retiring from his position as the 41st Chief of Staff of the Army, effective immediately. The Department of War is grateful for General George's decades of service to our nation. We wish him well in his retirement. Hegseth has not released his own statement on the latest shakeup, unless he has, as just recently. Then later Thursday, the Washington Post reported that Hegseth also ousted 2 more senior Army generals. Of According to the Post, they say Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has asked the Army's top officer to step down and retire, defense officials said on Thursday. An extraordinary move amid the war with Iran and the latest in a series of clashes between the Pentagon chief and the service's senior leadership. General Randy George had been expected to hold the job of Army Chief of Staff for more than another year until the fall of 2027 and complete what is typically a 4-year assignment as a member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. But Hegseth decided to go in another direction. 2 other Army generals were removed along with George, said 2 defense officials, who, like some others, spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss the shakeup. They are General David Hone, who became the head of the service's Training and Transformation Command in October, and Major General William Green Jr., the chief of Army chaplains. With George's ouster, Hegseth has remade nearly the entire Joint Chiefs of Staff, a panel of senior military officials or senior military officers at the Pentagon that advises both the president and the secretary. The only ones remaining from when Hegseth took office in January of 25 are General Eric M. Smith, Commandant of the Marine Corps, and General B. Chance Saltzman, head of the Space Force. The latest shakeup at the Pentagon comes as Trump announced the Iran war is winding down, saying we're on track to complete all of America's military objectives shortly, very shortly. We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. The joint U.S. war began on February 28th. Yada, 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 yada. So it just goes through the thing. But anyway, that's kind of big. And it makes you wonder, does that mean, because it is a strange time to push out the guys, the top military guys that are advising Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump, but maybe they just weren't happy with what they were getting. Part of me wonders, because I believe that Pete Hegseth and Trump both are on the same page with wanting to wrap this up as soon as possible. And it makes me wonder if these members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff were telling the president and the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, that, no, we need to keep going. We need to stay involved. We need to stretch this out over the course of months or whatever. And they found that unacceptable, and they say, no, we're not going to do that. And I don't think we should. I mean, at the end of the day, there are still objectives out there, main one being getting our hands on what enriched uranium Iran has and securing the Strait of Hormuz. But at the very least, we can look at what has been done so far and say to ourselves, Iran has been set back tremendously. And even if we left today or tomorrow, if you were to back out, not saying we should, but if you were to back out and supply some Starlink or internet or whatever to the people of Iran who desperately want reform in their country, you could have the Iranian population finish the job for us. Who knows what could happen? Noto Roofing and OTO Roofing.com. NotoRoofing.com, your roofing company. Get in touch with them. Let them know Andrew Mclain sent you. 205-848-2299. 848-2299. You'll go ahead and set something up. Call him today. Set something up for next week, man. It ain't going to hurt you. It's free. Cost you nothing. Free roof inspection, complimentary roof tune-up. All for you. For you. I'm talking to you. You like me? Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. The person on the other side of the radio. The person that's watching us on YouTube. I'm talking about you. 205-848-2299. Online, NotoRoofing.com. You know how much I love Noto Roofing and how much they support the show. Just make sure you mention me when you call them, and they'll hook you up, man. They'll once they know you're part of the Hey Now Nation, they're on it, baby. Whether it's your house, your barn, your rental property, your business, if it's got a roof, got to get it inspected, man. It's part of life. Hook that up. We did find out that an IRGC commander has been killed in a U.S.-Israeli strike, just adding to the list. Iranian commander of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard, Muhammad Ali Fatalizadeh, we'll just call him Ali Fatalizadeh. There we go. Muhammad Ali Fatalizadeh. We'll just call him Muhammad because everybody over there is named Muhammad. He was killed Wednesday in a strike. Muhammad, also known as General Muhammad Ali Fatalizadeh, was the latest Iranian regime leader to be taken out by U.S. and Israel forces. According to Iran's Defa Press news agency, a news outlet affiliated with the General Staff of Iran's Armed Forces, they reported on that. Approximately 40 top Iranian officials, senior political, military, IRGC, intelligence, and security leaders have been killed so far. It says that multiple major sources, including Wikipedia's casualty list, Axios, Reuters, Times of Israel, AP, and others, report an estimated total of around 40 top officials killed in the opening strikes and follow-on operations through late March, early April. This includes Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei from February 28th. He got killed fast, by the way. Key figures such as IRGC's Commander-in-Chief, Armed Forces Chief of Staff, Defense Minister, Intelligence Minister, Supreme National Security Council Secretary, and numerous deputy ministers, intelligence heads, and senior IRGC commanders. Some outlets describe the toll simply as dozens, while President Trump and reports from other outlets cite figures of 40-plus or 48 Iranian leaders eliminated. A few Israeli or U.S. sources have referenced higher counts, up to 70-plus, when including broader senior commanders. But the consensus figure for the high-level top officials remains at around 40, which is a lot. I mean, if you got 40 of your guys that have been eliminated, that's a pretty big deal. That's a pretty big hit, and with no help from NATO, might I add. Just the U.S. and Israel, and that's it. No help from NATO. Even Trump, I think this was Wednesday, he shredded NATO, talking about how, they're good for nothing, and what's the point of us even being in NATO? He even took a shot at Macron, French President Emmanuel Macron, saying, he's like, Emmanuel Macron, whose wife treats him extremely badly. Macron didn't take very kindly to that. He said, we spend trillions of dollars on NATO, and when we need them, which we never do, we didn't need them here either. To be honest, I was really asking because I wanted to see what they do. We didn't need them. We blasted the hell out of them, out of Iran, and the last thing I needed was NATO stepping in our way. He said NATO's a paper tiger, so we didn't need them, but I asked anyway. He then went on to slam Emmanuel Macron, saying, whose wife treats him extremely badly. He said, trolling him for the right to the jaw that he famously took from his wife, Brigitte, while stepping off his plane in Vietnam last year. He said, quote, he's still recovering from the right to the jaw. He also took a shot at Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister, saying he was offering too little too late. He said, and so I learned about NATO. NATO won't be there if we ever have the big one. You know what I mean by the big one? He was talking about, I think, conflict with China. He said, we spend billions. You know, we didn't have to go to Ukraine. Ukraine is thousands of miles away across the ocean. We helped them. We had a president who's stupid individual, gave them $350 billion, got nothing for it, gave them so much money, so much ammunition. We're making ammunition all over the place because we need it, because he gave so much away to Ukraine, got nothing for it, and I sell them ammunition. But I just want to tell you, NATO treated us very badly. And if you have to remember, because they'll be treating us badly again if we ever need them, and hopefully we're never going to need them, I don't think we will need them. I don't think they can do very much. That was a straight transcript, by the way. That's why it sounds the way it does. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing and the most recent thing in particular is, in fact, Ukraine. And it's like, obviously, we disagree with what Joe Biden and the Democrats did and when it pertains to Ukraine. And not just the Democrats, Republicans were on board with this as well. I still people talking, I stand with Ukraine. I stand with Ukraine. It's like, dude, you're giving up the gimmick. Like you're telling people you might as well be wearing a mask at that point. You might as well be putting a trans flag out in your yard, or wearing a mask, and wearing I stand with Ukraine pin, or put the bumper sticker. Now, if you are from Ukraine or have Ukrainian family, I can kind of get that. Kind of understand that. But I would also expect you being on the front lines in the sense of being from Ukraine to understand how corrupt Ukraine's government is and understand the fact that the money that's been sent to them has been an incredible waste and was all part of a larger money laundering scheme. As you know, as I mentioned, Tulsi Gabbard earlier, investigating Ukraine, talking about taking money from the U.S. and then turning around and sending it back to the Democrats and the Joe Biden campaign. Because for obvious reasons, they didn't want Donald Trump winning in 2024. But there's a new wrinkle in that story. Sometimes political events far from American soil strike directly at the heart of U.S. policy. And the upcoming parliamentary elections in Hungary that are going to be happening on April 12th, and the heated campaign now unfolding there, are exposing information with profound implication for Donald Trump's administration and our relationships with nations long viewed as reliable partners, if not outright allies. And I think Trump knows this, and this is why he is speaking so harshly out against NATO. A single incident rarely commands attention on its own, but when it surfaces amid a pattern of events all pointing the same direction, it demands serious scrutiny. And that's where Ukraine comes in, because they have fingers time after time after time pointing back at them, and you have to ask yourself, what is it? What is it that keeps putting Ukraine in the center of these situations? Now, let me talk about Hungary first. Hungary is a picturesque Central European country that has really become kind of a vital strategic asset and trusted partner for the Trump administration. There is a personal friendship between Donald Trump and Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban. It's well known, but the deeper bond between those two is on shared principles, which is robust democracy rooted in national sovereignty, strict controls on migration, energy security, military strength, economic prosperity, technological leadership. Viktor Orban's platform really mirrors our own America First agenda. We see it with him. We see it with Javier Milei in Argentina. He battles the same global elites in Brussels who enjoy the quiet backing of the Democrat Party, of George Soros and others. In many respects, the Hungarian government is fighting the very war Trump waged here at home against the deep state. Recent statements from Trump administration officials affirming U.S. support for Orban's party, political party, only underscores that alignment. Then, at the close of last month, this is just a few days ago, Viktor Orban drops a political bombshell. He publicly says that Ukraine, under Vladimir Zelensky, had funneled billions of dollars laundered through his country, Hungary, into efforts to support Kamala Harris during the 2024 U.S. presidential election. Now, the reason this is serious is because it's separate from what Tulsi Gabbard is telling us. What Tulsi Gabbard talks about is communications intercepted in Ukraine that was funneling U.S. tax dollars to go to the Joe Biden campaign before Joe Biden dropped out. And whether they did that or not, we will find out soon. But I would assume they did. And now we're finding out through Viktor Orban that after Joe Biden drops out, they then attempted again to take taxpayer dollars and fund Kamala Harris's campaign. Hungarian officials, including their foreign minister, detailed transfers of Ukrainian aid money routed westward to boost Democrats. Now, a lot of people would ask, why would Kiev interfere in the election of its biggest benefactor? The motive is as obvious as it is cynical. A Democrat in the Oval Office might have guaranteed endless blank checks, billions of dollars with minimal oversight, allowing Zelensky to prolong a bloody conflict with Russia indefinitely. The backdrop of Ukraine and Hungary relations really makes the accusation even more credible because tensions have skyrocketed in recent months. Budapest, Hungary, has repeatedly demanded that Kiev repair the Friendship oil pipeline so Hungary and Slovakia could once again receive affordable Russian crude oil. Zelensky is refusing to do that. He says infrastructure damage is too much. Of course, he's not providing any evidence of that, and he's barred technical inspection teams from assessing the site. He's like, oh, it's in bad shape, but nobody can come look at it. And during a tense media-covered meeting in his personal office, Zelensky reportedly blackmailed Viktor Orban over the issue. Then in retaliation, Viktor Orban vetoed a proposal of 90 billion euros in an EU loan package for Ukraine, noting that Kiev has no realistic path to repayment and the European taxpayers would foot the bill forever. Common sense. Adding insult to injury, Kiev has stepped up to support Orban's chief domestic rival and his political party. So now Kiev and Vladimir Zelensky is getting involved in Hungary's elections and saying, hey, we support the other guy because Viktor Orban's not playing ball with us. So could Orban's timing, mere weeks before the Hungarians head to the polls on April 12th, be mere campaign rhetoric or information warfare? Perhaps. Yet the broader context transforms the claim from isolated accusations into coherent pattern, and the pattern has now exploded across the American information space. Listen to this. Last week, as you know, as I mentioned a second ago, Tulsi Gabbard declassified the intelligence intercepts showing that as far back as 2022, the Ukrainian government was discussing funneling hundreds of millions of dollars that they had received as U.S. taxpayer dollars, originally earmarked for clean energy projects via USAID, into accounts tied to Joe Biden's political operation and the DNC. The Biden administration, of course, buried the intercepts. The FBI and the CIA, they took it and they put it in a skiff and they tried to hide it from anybody and everybody. And really, a scandal with that magnitude would have been politically catastrophic, as Democrats would lose voter support over their reckless Ukraine policy. Tulsi Gabbard has now ordered a full USAID review and potential criminal referral to the FBI. Nor can we ignore the more brazen public example. In September of 24, President Zelensky himself flew to a military ammunition plant in Scranton, Pennsylvania. You remember Joe Biden's hometown and a critical swing state battleground, to deliver what Republicans called a campaign-style appearance on behalf of Kamala Harris. I think, who was the other guy there? Was it Shapiro? Remember, they were signing missiles. You had a foreign head of state openly stumping for one U.S. candidate in the midst of a presidential election with zero legal repercussions for him or his country. Taken together, those three episodes, those episodes, Orban's revelation, Gabbard's declassified intercepts, and Zelensky's Pennsylvania photo op. This is not a coincidence. This is a pattern of interference by a supposed partner that has received hundreds of billions of dollars from American aid. Now, the accusation is that Ukraine and Zelensky had been doing more than that in order to benefit the Kamala Harris campaign. Now, on paper, you may say to yourself, okay, that's all out in the open, and we understand that. But if they were willing to send money, hundreds of millions of dollars, to the Joe Biden campaign that they had received from us, U.S. taxpayer dollars, what do you think they did for Kamala Harris in the final weeks leading up to the election? How did they meddle? How far did they take it? There is more foreign interference in our elections than I think anybody understands. And if the American people were to be shown this, shown the evidence of it, they would be shocked. Liberals wouldn't be shocked. They don't care as long as their people win. But the American people would be astonished at the level of foreign interference, not just from Ukraine, but from China, from North Korea, from Iran. They're constantly meddling in our elections. And thank God we've got an administration and a cabinet that's serious about cleaning up said elections. The DOJ is suing Idaho, which is a red state right now, over their refusal to hand over voter rolls. There's 30 states right now, including Washington, D.C., that are being sued by the DOJ because they refuse to hand over their voter rolls that show who all they've got voting. Dead people, people that don't live there anymore, to clean up election fraud. And hopefully they're successful. The moral of the story here is know that in the lead up to the midterms, the Trump administration is actively, outside of the Save America Act, trying to clean up our elections to make sure that these elections in the midterms are free and as fair as possible. 205-545-9950. More on the line coming up right after this. 205-545-9950. Boy, I've really I really got to yapping too much on that last segment. That's my bad. Let me tell you about Earnest Financial. RetireWithEarnest.com. RetireWithEarnest.com. My buddy David Earnest, who you know has been doing this for 45 years. That is a long time. Long. That's so long ago that John Bird was probably in high school. I don't even know he was in high school. He might have been a wee little guy back then. It's a long time ago. But anyway, get with them. They're going to protect your retirement. Make sure that it goes only up. They put a floor under it. They put you in position to where it only goes up, and then retirement is easy peasy. Call them. Doesn't cost you anything. 833-596-7233 is the number online. RetireWithEarnest.com.